Hey guys, it's Cam Interviews. We are here right now with Counterparts. If you could introduce your name and position in the band.
My name is Brendan. I'm vocals in the band.
Awesome. All right, so you were just at South by Southwest, and so how was that? And tell me about the fan reaction, because I know it's kind of a diverse crowd. So
Yeah,
let me know.
sure. It was cool. It was the first time we've ever done that. It was the first time we've ever been to Austin too, which was really cool. It's a bit hectic for me, just that many people and trying to load in and be a band amongst how many people that are there. But no, the show was really cool. A lot of kids came out to see us. It was sweet. We had a really good time. The show was awesome. A bunch of cool bands played our stage, and yeah, it was sick. So we we were lucky to be part of it. I just wish that we could have. I wish that we could have found parking so we could have went and saw more and more actual artists that I would have cared to see. But I don't know where I would find Lady Gaga, so whatever. She was the only thing I really wanted to see that day. So
I heard Justin Bieber had a surprise entrance too.
Really?
Yeah, I heard he came out of nowhere and was just playing a random stage, a small little
That's crazy. I remember walking by and hearing the 1975 playing some little bar and stuff like that, and we were hanging out, and Ben Gibbard from Death Cab was walking by, and we're all oh, cool. So this is this is a real deal here. It's not just it's not just our separate tiny little hardcore stage that we were playing. So no, it was cool though. South by Southwest is sweet.
And so what's it like having these sort of one-off festival shows like South by So What right here? How is that?
I love it. I think playing festivals is really cool. The only drawback is the fact that you have to be here. We had to be here for 7 in the morning, stuff like that. So you have to drive overnight, not get much sleep, and then you have to get up super early, and then you're kind of on your feet for most of the day. But festivals are cool. I mean, for example, we have we're on tour with 100th, but we get to see so many of our friends today. Our managers flew down here. We have a bunch of bands that we're friends with that are playing the festival as well that we see very rarely. So it's cool. It's kind of like a family reunion almost. And then the shows are always awesome. And kids, for some reason, Texas likes us. I don't know why, but Texas is really sweet, and everybody, usually whenever we play here, especially around Dallas, Fort Worth area, the show is always awesome. So I'm hoping today is cool. We've sold a lot of hats, I think, because it's so cold outside today. People are just well, whatever, I don't care what it says on it. I don't know what Counterparts is, but give me the hat. So I mean, that benefits us, sure, it's pretty sweet. But no, festivals are sweet. I have a good time.
I told my mom I was interviewing a band called Counterparts, and she's like, "Oh, that was the name of my Tupperware company that I worked for back in the day."
Hey, well, that Counterparts probably made a hell of a lot more money than this Counterparts ever did. But we probably weren't as good as keeping food fresh as the other one as well. But that's cool though. That tour's got something for everybody, I think. It's got and when I say it, I don't mean it in a bad way, but it's got the more sort of accessible band, Stick to Your Guns, you know what I mean, where they bring out God knows how many hundreds or thousands of people, whatever, to the shows and stuff. And then you've got the cool little smaller guys like us and 100th on it, and then you've got Terror, which are going to bring out every all the older hardcore dudes and stuff. Same with Expire. So I really think that the shows are going to go over awesome. And I mean, people who I'm sure there's going to be people who are going to come to see another band that won't stay for my band, but at the same time, that's not really, it's whatever, at the end of the day, it's how many people came and, the kind of reaction we get. So I feel basically if you like hardcore metalcore, crybaby, whatever you want to call us, that kind of thing, you've got it covered with that tour, right? Every band that you could want to see, or basically you're gonna pay money and there's gonna be more than one band you like. So it's cool. But yeah, I think it'll be really cool. As for preparing, we're not really doing much. Just kind of playing shows, practicing. I guess that's how we practice now, because we're too lazy to actually go and jam at home. So yeah, we're just playing these routing dates to get out there, and I think it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. And then can we talk about the the title of the tour, just for what does it mean to you? Kind of what is this like?
It's I mean, that honestly, the name of the tour kind of caught me off guard, you know what I mean? It kind of came out of left field for me, because I didn't know it was going to be a whole, a whole big thing. But I guess watching the video of Stick to Your Guns, talking about what it means to them and stuff like that, basically I think it's just kind of you know, it's a positive and negative thing in my eyes, where it's like, you know, like they were saying is, you know, like fuck the message. It's like, you know, hardcore used to be like you were a hardcore band depending on what your message was, and I think that that's sort of like not necessarily how it goes anymore nowadays. Like it's like, oh, you're a hardcore band if you sound like this, and that's it. Like, you know, like us, for example, you know, it doesn't matter that most of our songs are double time, and like we have, like, you know, not that makes us a hardcore band, but you know what I mean, like characteristics of where you go to, you know, Wikipedia or Urban Dictionary or whatever and look up hardcore punk and you read it out, and it's like, yeah, that describes us, but we also have that like weird melodic shit that we do, but so we're not a hardcore band, you know, like. And I feel like the genre is sort of like, you know, I feel like what they're trying to say is the genre has sort of gotten away from the message aspect, and it's more, you know, what like what your band sounds like, which is, it kind of sucks, you know what I mean? Like, because, you know, I refer to us as a hardcore band, but then I see people trying to lip us off on the internet being like, Counterparts aren't a fucking hardcore band, like, you know, why are they saying they are, stuff like that. It's like, well, in my eyes, you know, but yeah, I mean, that's definitely more so. I think that this question would kind of be better suited for the guys that stick to your guns because it's their tour. But I mean, I back what they're trying to say. I'm like, I will admit, I'm a little confused why it's called "fuck the message." It should be like, the message is sick, fuck the dummy kids that suck nowadays. But whatever. I mean, that would, you know, if we were in charge, that we'd name it something retarded like that. So, but no, like I get what they're trying to say, and it's like, you know, what they were saying about us in the video, that like we're, you know what I mean, like we have a message that we, you know, like that's the most important thing about our band. Like it's really cool that people notice that, because that's definitely what it's been about since we started the band, you know what I mean? So it's very cool that those guys were like, when they, you know, when they think about our band name, or when our band name's brought up, they think like, yeah, like a band that stands for something, because I like to think that that's what our band is about. So it's really cool that they said that. So like, thank you, Stick to Your Guns. Thank you for saying that. It's very nice.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I was going to save that question for like one of the last questions, but I mean, what do you suggest that your band is all about?
Basically, like, I mean, I can't really speak for like the earlier stuff that we had, like Prophets and stuff like that, but a big part of our band now is, I guess, coping and like getting through life, because obviously, you know, when we started the band, we were a fairly positive band. Like a lot of the lyrics were positive, you know, positive influence and stuff like that. And it was just kind of, I guess one day I kind of realized like that's sort of like living like that you're kind of like living under a veil almost, where it's like, you know, you're like, things aren't perfect. You know what I mean? Like the world is not a perfect place. It's not, I wouldn't even say it's a good place. Like it's far from it. Like, yes, there are good things. There's good people, you know, there is good in the world, but it's just like so hard to come by nowadays. And I feel like that's sort of the message of our band, is like, just, you know, it's definitely like coping, you know, just getting like, you know, being able to force yourself to get up and live another day and be like, I know the kind of person I am. I know what I need to do to fulfill my goals in life, and going and doing it, as opposed to being like, you know, some like weird dude that lives in his house and is like, oh, like fuck the outside world, like one of those you know, one of those like end of the world people that you see on like Discovery, that just like sit in their room with like an automatic weapon, and they're like, nah, fuck it, like, you know, I'm waiting for them, I'm gonna take him out, you know. It's just basically not being that guy. So yeah, Counterparts is all about not being that freak with the gun. So if that makes any sense at all.
So one thing I wanted to talk about, though, is really funny, is I saw a picture on your guys' Twitter about someone that was complaining about how you guys started a mosh pit in the front row. Could you just take us back to that night, if you remember it specifically, and just talk about it?
That actually happened like 2-3 days ago, I think. It was we're on tour with 100th. We're doing like the dates to get out to the Stick to Your Guns tour, and our tour package met up in Corpus Christi, and I guess like our booking agent asked that, like, there was a tour package going through with Alisana, I think Farewell My Love is what they're called. If not, I apologize, can't really remember, I'm bad at that. Who else was on it? Hearts and Hands, Migosh, like that tour was happening, and it's like, you know, and again, like, I don't mean this in a bad way, but, you know, Alisana, you know, they're sort of bringing out a younger crowd, you know what I mean, like a younger, I don't really know the term, and like I said, I don't mean it in a bad way. That's just like, they have their fan base, we have ours, you know. So I guess like we started the set, and I just told people like, get the energy up. Let's have fun. Like, if you want to stage dive, like let's have fun. Like get on the stage, sing along. Like let's have fun tonight. And like it seems like right as soon as that happened, I heard just like people in the front row just scream. So I guess there was a girl in the front who didn't like the fact that I told people to stage dive, because I mean, it's not, we're not like we're not sort of like a beat down kind of hardcore band. We're not really like apparently we're not a real hardcore band. So like, our fans are not those big dudes that could take somebody out. But, when you're talking like, like at the Alisana show, like I think in the front row there was, like younger people probably around like 15, 16, like young, like skinnier people. Then you have dudes who like our band who are just like, oh, I'm going to jump on them now. And it's like, I mean, to me that, that's a good show, like, I mean, obviously I don't really condone like going and being like, oh, look at that little kid there, I'm going to step on his head. Like that kind of sucks. But at the same time, like when I was that age and I was at shows, stage diving was it was what's up. People would do it and it was like, oh, this is cool. I'm at a show. People are moshing, people are stage diving, like yeah, every now and then you'll get some dickhead who's like, oh, I'm going to drop kick that girl in the head. And it's like, like, no, I don't condone that whatsoever, but jumping, doing a little flippy onto somebody, they're going to catch you. It's like, I think it's totally fine, but that girl didn't. So I can't remember who sent it to me, but yeah, like someone sent it to me on Tumblr and like sent the Tumblr screenshot to me and just said like, hey, like someone said this. And so I just posted on the Twitter being like, oh, like you want to know how the show went? So, but I mean that, like the show was really cool. Like it was awesome. So, thanks to Alisana and those guys for letting us play the show. I hope that we didn't hurt anybody, too bad anyway.
And then I wanted to talk about you guys in 100th. You guys are always on tour together. So what force keeps getting you guys reunited time and time again?
We're the same band, man. Like it honestly, like we make the joke all the time, like we're like the Canadian 100th. They're the American counterparts. Like that's just, we did like our first, I guess like one of the bigger tours that we did was in Canada. And it was For the Fallen Dreams, 100th and Us. And we met them, and that was like years ago. I think that was in like 2000, I don't even know. I think like 2009, 2010. So we've been friends with them for 4 years, and we always end up on tours together, and we're just friends. Like, like I like to think that, I mean, maybe the guys in 100th won't back me up on it, but I like to think that they're like, as far as like a band that would be our best friends go, like I think it would be 100th, because we're with them. We just did Europe with them like a few weeks ago. Now we're doing 6 weeks in America with them, and we brought them over and done Canada with them. They've taken us on their American headliners. It's just like, we're just boys, and we know that if we're both on a tour, like we know we're gonna have fun. So I think that's sort of the, I feel like us, like aside from that, if that wasn't the case, the strongest thing is probably the fact that usually kids like both of our bands. Like it's not often that some kids like, well, I love 100th, but I hate Counterparts, or vice versa. You know what I mean? It's like, no, Counterparts and 100th, like I love those bands. So it just helps. You know what I mean? It's just like, we're say we're on a tour and it's like, oh, that's cool, Counterparts is playing. Like, yeah, tickets are $15. Sure, like that's cool. But if it's like, oh, Counterparts and 100th are playing, I gotta go, because those are two bands I really like. So I think that helps. And like I said, we're just the same band. We do the same things. Like we're the same people. That's pretty soon. We're just gonna kick out everybody, and we're just gonna be a mixed band. Yeah. And we're just gonna, capitalize on the whole melodic, whatever.
Not hardcore.
Not whatever we are. Not hardcore. We're not that. Like really want to drive that home. Like
Tupperware core.
Pop punk is hardcore. Black metal is hardcore. Death metal is hardcore, but we're not at all, dude. Don't.
All right. So lastly, just please inform fans what's next for you guys. I mean, I know you talked about that tour with 100th and obviously with Stick to Your Guns, but other than that, what's coming up after that?
We have after the Stick to Your Guns tour, we're home for 2-3 weeks, and then we're doing a Canadian tour with Comeback Kid. It's Comeback Kid, us, Backtrack, Alpha and Omega, and the Greenery. That's across Canada. Well, not across Canada. It's like a West Coast Canada tour. Like starts in Ontario, goes out to Vancouver, and then We don't really know yet, but I mean, we're going to be in Vancouver, so we're more than likely going to cross into the Northwest in America and play shows to get home, or else we're just kind of biting, a bullet and driving 4 days straight home, which really sucks. And then we're off for a long time. Over the summer, we're actually doing Rockfest in Montebello, Quebec, which the lineup is like ridiculous for that. Like we're we're playing with bands like Weezer and like Blink-182 and like Motley Crue and Alice Cooper. Like it's ridiculous. And then we're playing with a bunch of cool bands that we actually like as well. So, but yeah, then we're off for all the summer, and then we've confirmed a tour around the fall. I probably can't say it yet, but it's going to be pretty sweet. It's definitely, we're touring with one of the bands that my first band that I ever played music in. We covered a few of their songs, and I have a feeling they're going to be playing mostly songs off that record on that tour. So keep your eyes peeled for that, because that'll be pretty cool. Like I'm really looking forward to that one. It'll be sweet. So, yeah, but that's it for now. That's all we got. So.
All right, well, that concludes the interview. Thank you so much for having us, and this is Kind of Interviews. Take it easy.